Hey, and welcome to part 3 of my Dark Souls Remastered item randomizer run. Since I got the Lord Vessel at the end of the last episode, today I'm going to try to track down the Lord Souls. Since they can be literally anywhere, I just pick an area and start searching. I decided to start with some of the smaller optional areas first to get them out of the way, and so I become Egg. The stray demon went down easy. I just wailed on him with my axe and backed off whenever he did the butt slam, and had enough damage to brute force my way through the fight, and only had to use, at most, 2 brain cells. The stray demon dropped Quelaag's soul, so if I want a good fire weapon, I know where to get one at least. There isn't anything else of note in the asylum though, so I suppose I didn't need to go here, or include it in the video. But I had to do it, so you have to watch it. On my way to the Valley of the Drakes, Mr. Depresso slip and slided himself and took his item drops with him. I killed the undead dragon by bopping his little fingers about 50 times and found absolutely nothing useful. You know, you'd think, just statistically speaking, that I'd have found at least one of the Lord Souls by now. Is this foreshadowing, or just me complaining? Only time will tell. And that should be all the little optional areas done, at least all the ones I can actually get to. So I head back down through the Catacombs to clear out the Tomb of the Giants and kill Nito. After literally getting my ass kicked by Patches, I found the repair box, which would actually end up being incredibly useful a little later. The Nito fight was pretty standard. I just hung back to lure Nito and the smaller skeletons away from the big ones, then shoved my axe up Nito's butt until he died. He only dropped a normal consumable soul item. Next, I went to the Duke's Archives. On my way over, I finished up in Londo by poise tanking my way through O&S. Super Smo actually dropped a key item. It's the first time that's happened in a hot minute. The key to the seal will let me get up to the Four Kings boss room, but I'll still need to pick up the ring if I want to actually fight them. Then it's into the archives I go. I get the Crest of Artorius from a chest, which would have been nice to have about 4 hours ago, but I guess I'll take it. I used a rare ring of sacrifice to not lose any souls or risk getting cursed during the first Seath encounter. The prison section of the Duke's Archives played out more or less the same as it usually does. I assumed that this happened because of the mod's algorithm to prevent soft locks, even though it shouldn't be strictly necessary because the player has to have the Lord Vessel to even get here. Sure makes things convenient though, not having to run around trying to find the archive cell key. Outside the Crystal Caves, I freed Sieglinde from the Gold Golem, and damn, girl's got style. Over in a corner, I find a bequeathed Lord Soul just laying unceremoniously on the ground. First Lord Soul acquired, 3 to go. Now into the Cave of Invisible Bullshit. I just assumed that I had picked up some prism stones at some point on my adventure thus far. I had not. Between not having any of the glowing rocks and not having any player messages, because I have to play offline with the mod, some of these items were an absolute nightmare to get to. With the stone spell plate ring and the curse bite rings equipped, Seath is just a joke. I poked him in the tentacle with my +5 lightning spear and completely ignored the curse crystals because they did barely any damage, and the curse meter didn't get anywhere near filling up. Most of the damage I took came from getting smacked with his tentacles while being greedy and trying to go for a tail cut. And when the fight was over, I got a single humanity. Great. Well, nothing to do but move on and search another area. New Londo time, baby. I died almost immediately in New Londo because the camera fucked me over. I mean, look at that. I swear to God, I was not touching the right stick. The residence key. I can finally free Griggs and see what he's got in his shop. I also found the Gravelord Greatsword, which is very neat, then opened up the seal. Took a bit of a detour to finally get Griggs out of that damn room in Lower Undeadburg, then hauled ass back to Firelink to see what he had to sell. On my way down to him, I realized that Domhall is also down here in his incredibly inconvenient spot under the bridge. I bought the Rusted Iron Ring and Havel's Ring from him, both of which I'd be using extensively later for speed. Finally, Griggs had nothing that I actually wanted. Well, at least now I know, and I can stop worrying about it. I went back to New Londo to grab more items, and after I thought I had grabbed everything, sure would be a shame if I missed an area with key items because I wasn't wearing my headlight, I headed down to the lava zone. There was literally nothing interesting in the demon ruin, so I just went and stabbed a bunch of bugs, then went to fight Asylum Demon 3.0. It was definitely one of the boss fights of all time. I just used the same strat as the stray demon. Poke him in the tummy and back off when he does the butt slam. I assumed that since I hadn't found the orange Charred ring yet, it just wasn't randomized, and I'd get it from the centipede demon like a normal playthrough. The crescent axe did serviceable damage, so I just camped out by his feet and chopped off a couple of his weird centipede arm head things before killing him. Huh. Well, shit. So apparently the orange Charred ring is randomized. I definitely can't cross this lava pit without it, so I guess I'll go back through some previous areas and... hold up. Oh. Never mind then. Into Lost Isles we go. Running through the lava had a bit of an anxiety spike when the dad mask almost broke. But I've got the repair box now, so I don't have to do any backtracking, which is a little bit of annoyance avoided, which is always nice. I accidentally got Sigmar killed down in the pit with the demons with all the teeth. But I'm glad I fell down here because I picked up my second Lord Soul. I also picked up the broken pendant just before Bed of Chaos, which opens up the Abyss DLC for later. Bed of Chaos is as much of a pain in the ass as it ever is. But giant tree witch bugs go down, and that's as much of the base game as I can get to. Or is it? Well, I thought it was at the time, so I went to Ulusio. After a couple of failed attempts, I killed Sanctuary Guardian in what is easily the cleanest fight I've ever had against this boss. And by cleanest fight, I fucking mean it. I did this shit hitless, which I have never done before, and I was fucking hyped about it. The high damage and high poise damage of two-handing the Gravelord Greatsword allowed me to get some good 3-hit combos in which shredded through its health bar. In Not-So-Dark-Root Garden, I found the Blighttown key, which I can't use and don't need, but it did renew my waning confidence that I would find any key items in the DLC. And then it was time for Artorius of the Abyss, the fight that half of all future Dark Souls boss fights would be based on. I found a strat that was able to work fairly consistently for me, and eventually beat him with a Crystal Halberd. Basically, I just tried to stay as far away from him as possible, and bait out one of 3 safely punishable attacks. The big jump, where he lands with an AoE, the running stab attack, and when he does the flippy move 3 times. These attacks all left him vulnerable for a single poke from the halberd before I had to back off again. I didn't try to knock him out of his buffing animation, even though I'm very aware that that is a thing. I just couldn't knock him out of it reliably, and would rather use those few seconds to heal or just take a breath, rather than rushing in and risk getting blasted by the AoE. It's not flashy, and it took a long-ass time, but it got the job done and opened up Ullasil Township. Just before Chained Prisoner, I found the Covenant of Artorius ring, which is a pretty good incentive to go back to New Londo, and not fight Manus without the silver pendant. And oh shit, would you look at that! I missed some items down here. Well, and there's Lord Soul number 3, just sitting down here right under my nose. This made me realize that I may have missed items in other areas too, despite my attempts to be thorough. So instead of again, trying to go fight Manus without the silver pendant, I figured I'd have a much better time going back through some other areas to see what else I missed. And lo and behold, there's the final Lord Soul, just chilling in a random corner at the bottom of Lighttown. So that's it. That's the game. I killed Gwyn with the help of Dark Souls' best boy, and didn't set myself on fire for the sake of symmetry. So, can I beat Dark Souls Remastered when every item is randomized? Hell yeah, I can. And it's super fun. This run took about 17 hours in total with all the running around I had to do, but was very enjoyable overall. So that's gonna do it for today's video. I'll see y'all next time with a brand new challenge run. Bye.